Welcome to the Jacob Wayne Show. This is, as always, your Jacob Wayne, and as always, is my co-host, Kellen Gibbons. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
A little tipsy, to be honest. Like, we started a little bit later than I was planning, and I was like, I got deeper than I intended.
Yeah. Well, that makes
not by much.
Episode. Nice.
But that being said, I did say you were always my co-host, but I do want to say one thing. If we ever have a scheduling conflict, we had our first listener write in and say, "Where's episode 33?"
I'll be
damned. I was like, "Oh fuck." There's actually a demand. I don't know if it's trolling demand, sad demand. I don't know where the demand is coming from. But what I will do is if we ever have like a week we gotta miss, I'll record a Jacob Wayne solo episode and we'll just number those. And I'll go off on something that I know Kellen maybe didn't really watch or anything. Like I'll do my top 5 Jorodowski films or something like that.
Huh.
And just go off for a half an hour. And do you know that guy?
No. Never heard
I don't really that much either. But he's a director that I'm supposed to respect and from the 70s and blah blah blah. So if we ever run into that again, I'll try to have some backed up episodes and we'll keep the train rolling for you. Because that's great to get that message, honestly.
Yeah.
So, but anytime Kellen can be here and be my co-host, like, abso-fucking-lutely. I love you being my co-host, and you really helped the good get out. So, with that being said, what you drinking? 3, 2, 1...
Ooh, yeah. What's the taste?
I'm sipping a Rogue Panda Fluff.
What the is that?
It's a white stout.
Oh.
And it is 5.6%. And I've had this before, so kind of has like a marshmallowy element to it. Or like the white zombie coffee drink you can get in Logan. I forget at what spot.
Jitters.
But Jitters, yeah. And it's which is such a Logan coffee shop name.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm being honest, I don't want to go off on it because we got a juicy episode. But Jitters is like, in Logan, they're trying to convince you, like, you will get fucking awake.
Yeah.
To this. And we're like, thank you. And it's like so the culture there. Whereas Seattle or Colorado, where you can get coffee anywhere, they're like, creme brulees. Like, it's just trying to like actually appeal to your tastes. Like, you wouldn't go to Jitters in Colorado, but Jitters in Utah, fuck yeah.
Oh yeah, for real.
But Cafe Ibis, sorry, that will always be my favorite.
Oh yeah,
through the highs and lows.
OG.
Your brother Corey came down and visited me.
Yeah,
and we did some jamming. We worked on some music. And he brought me some Highlander grog from Cafe Ibis, which is my favorite coffee of all time.
Some good stuff.
Yeah, it got me through college. So, God bless it. Allah bless it, Buddha bless it.
All of them.
What are you sipping on?
I don't think I've had this one before. I got the double IPA from Shades Brewing in Salt Lake City. This is Double
Okay.
Trouble, American style double IPA. I think it's
Oof.
like 9%. It's big.
Oh,
It's
there you
tasty.
go.
It's hoppy.
So you're gonna catch right up.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully. We'll see. With that being said, do you have anything on your release schedule? Stuff going on in your world?
No, nothing new coming out that isn't already on its way. That Highline Drifters album is getting mighty close though.
Mm-hmm.
So keep an ear out for that.
Hell yeah. Well, they actually do have something that came out today.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember if you were there for this though. Our band Fakoshka, our first album, Kitty Massage Parlor. The first track, Slick Kettle Pirate.
Yeah.
It starts out with like weird, like effects driven cat noises and a thunderstorm.
Those
And
are
how
organic
go
cat
ahead.
noises.
Yeah. Where those cat noises came from is our buddy Clayton's cat. I can't even remember the name of the cat. But we were hanging out and they're like, well, we need some cat noises for this intro. So we were like kind of like tickling its belly and chest. And it was like weren't being rough. It just reacted intensely.
It just made noises when you weren't touching it.
Pretty much, yeah. It was a loud cat. And so I had all those audio files during that year, which was 2011, if you can believe that.
Wow.
Yeah. And I would sit in Fruity Loops and I was like just doing like, I'll remix the cat. And I did a track that I really fell in love with called Scratch Cat Fever. And it's nothing but Fakoshka to me, even though it was just this little remixy weird thing to put on our SoundCloud at the time. But I just uploaded it on our Spotify, and I kind of did it on purpose to like reinvigorate our Spotify channel.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, no, we're gonna record some of these songs we've had written for a while and get them to you. And let's just like clear out the catalog. So before we got into proper recording of new stuff, which is kind of old at this point, just like, what did we already have record that was mixed reasonably well? Oh, there's this one remix. So I threw that up. We have some live stuff recorded that is fun if you like that kind of thing, but it's just not properly mixed for Spotify. So check out our Fakoshka channel, Scratch Cat Fever. Check out our old albums. They're old. We know. We'll get you a new one soonish. It's hard to write an album when you live in different states and you're not signed or any of that stuff. So
Yep.
but we'll get it to you.
We drop some fun stuff every once in a while, even across state lines. We're working on it.
Yeah. I was talking to Corey about a Christmas video that we almost made 2 years ago, but didn't quite get it down. But we'll just tease that. Maybe we'll do it this year.
I remember our Facebook memories popped up not too long ago. Our little video we made at Y Sound that was pretty damn good, where it's just like, Fakoshka, tonight, sofas.
Sofas!
I was like,
Yeah,
hey,
like,
that's a nice little video.
not to toot my own horn, but I feel like I'm pretty good at that stuff. The little online social media video flyer or whatever you want to call it. Like, I think I know how to draw some people in. Could be wrong. Maybe I'm delusional, but...
Well, that's why I bring it up. I'm telling you. Like, that was nicely done, sir.
Oh, well, thank you. Sometimes I feel like a delusional entrepreneur that keeps losing jobs and can't really get anything done.
Sometimes I feel
Sometimes I feel like an asshole who does drugs. Anyway, like I said, it's a juicy episode, so it might seem like we're kind of moving along quick, but as far as new releases, I didn't get to really dive into new stuff today, but there was one album. It's one I've mentioned, St. Vincent's Daddy's Home, finally dropped today. And it's a loosey-goosey 70s style Bowie-like jam, which
Nice.
is really not her style. All her other albums are a lot more meticulous. So the looseness of this was really nice. It's just kind of a hang, like as I think she described, it's like it's one of those records where I want you to throw it on, have like a little shot of whiskey or tequila, and just talk with your friends about what you're going through. And I was like, alrighty, I can get down with that. So it's a very mellow record, but it's kind of psychedelic, has some sitar on it, and I'm excited to digest it more. I got the vinyl on the way.
Nice.
So unless there's any new music releases, we can get right into movies.
Yeah, I haven't heard of any, so.
Alrighty. So, watched any good movies recently? What have you been getting into?
No, I haven't had much time in the way of movies lately. I have been watching Bored to Death on HBO, which is a
I never
series.
watched that. That is well regarded though. Zach
Oh, yeah.
Galifianakis and Dead Dancing.
Yep, yeah, Ted Danson is just the best. He's my favorite part of that show. Yeah, it's a great show. I enjoy it.
Does it have Jason Schwartzman?
Yeah, he's the main character.
Shit. Look at me. I don't even I haven't even seen the show. And I'm like, I remember he's in that.
Yeah, I was like trying to think of his name. I was like, I'm not gonna risk it, but that's totally it, I think.
He's gonna be in the new season of Righteous Gemstones.
Oh, nice.
That was announced recently, so I'm super stoked and ready for that. COVID got in the way of that shit. As well as the show Barry. When I'm just those are two HBO shows that I love, and I was like, come on. It's like,
Yeah.
give it to me.
Well, it's kind of funny that I saw him in Bored to Death first. Like that's like where the main role I know him from, and he's in Fargo, and he's like a mob boss, and I was just like, I can't do it. I just can't. I can't get past like I just see him as the Bored to Death dude, just comedy, trying
Jason
to be all serious.
Schwartzman was?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I can't picture him as a mob boss.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know, probably not a good pick, but
What season was that? 4?
3,
3.
3 or 4.
Oh, okay.
Can't remember which one.
3 had Ewan McGregor as like twins or something. And then 4 had like Chris Rock and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that was 4. Yep, it was the one with Chris Rock. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool. With that, I'm gonna kind of break down some movies I watched. I kind of went on a movie binge real quick.
Yeah, you've been having quite the time.
Mm-hmm. So we'll get into this, and I'll just check in with you, see if you've seen any of these. Got any thoughts? Otherwise, I'll just give some brief information. The first movie I watched over the last week or so was Selena. It's a 1997 American biographical musical drama film written and directed by Gregory Nava. The only other movie I saw that he directed that I'm kind of aware of but also haven't seen is Frida, and that's Frida Kahlo, the artist. And the film is about the life and career of the Tiano music star Selena Quintanilla Perez, sorry, my bad. Before she was murdered by Yolanda Saldivar at the age of 23. I remember the preview of this movie, and I never watched it. And so when it popped up as a movie that was about to leave HBO, I was like, I should probably check this out because I won't think to watch it otherwise. Uh-huh. And while it is very like generic 90s musical biopic structure, like she falls in love with the sexy guitar player, and regardless of whether that actually happened or not, it's such a cliche almost, like the way they framed it and filmed it.
Yeah.
That being said, it's a feel good movie. It makes you respect Selena and her impact. And as you know, there's all kind of musicians all over the world that in the United States we can become a little naive to what's actually relevant worldwide.
Oh yeah.
And she had that crossover thing, man. She hit the United States with a little bit of that Madonna pop star vibe, but then she did that Tiano music and it's just some like kind of adapted some covers in a really interesting way. And she was huge in Mexico, I guess. Even though she was Mexican American and didn't apparently speak Spanish that well. So that's just the
Oh,
power of
nice.
music, man.
For sure. I'm
Had
gonna have to
you
watch
ever
it.
heard of her as like a musician?
No, I didn't. I haven't heard about her before. I did hear about that movie. I just haven't watched it yet.
Yeah. So I'm gonna rank all these when I'm done. Some I won't have as much to say as others, but what what I watched next was Society with Corey. That's the one I showed to
Nice.
you. I have to
Yeah.
show it to anybody who visits me. You want me to pee in it? It's probably my favorite line from it.
Yep.
And yeah, I'm not going to give anything away, just that you need to watch it. It's kind of one of those cheesy, silly films, but just like really weird, like something unsettling about it. And then the ending, it's just like incredible practical effects. Shout out to Screaming Mad George.
Hell yeah.
And there's that movie. The next movie I watched was Beverly Hills Cop 1984. That
Woo.
was Eddie Murphy, probably, perhaps his best role.
Yeah.
I had never seen it. Have you seen it?
I've only seen like little clips on like when it's on TV.
Yeah. Like, and I'll tell you, after watching it for the first time all the way through, I was like, this is such the template for the buddy cop movie thing.
Uh huh.
Because he actually befriends two white cops in Beverly Hills and like slowly gets them in on it, and it just has that buddy cop vibe, even though it's like him just being a badass detective
Uh huh.
and just coming in and mixing things up in Beverly Hills. But that is what leads it to become a little cliche if you watch it now, but then you realize, oh well, this is where the cliche started. Like they nailed it. They
Yeah.
Everybody copied this. So it was really interesting to kind of watch in that capacity. The director is Martin Brest, who also directed Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which is another 80s classic that I need to watch. I never did.
Yeah.
He directed Midnight Run, which I would argue is maybe even a better buddy film than Beverly Hills Cop. It's Robert De Niro and the dad from the Beethoven movies.
Oh
And it's like
shit.
rated R and it's filthy and it's great. I learned about that movie from Patrice O'Neill of all places. So as soon as he was like, "This is one of my favorite movies," it's like, okay.
Nice.
But oddly enough, the director went on to direct "Son of a Woman." You ever seen that?
Uh, I don't think I've seen it. I do. I've heard of it.
I think that's supposedly where what's his name, Godfather Al Pacino kind of went from I talk a little bit like from Godfather, and then he go, ooh, yeah, like had that voice. He's like, yeah, ooh, and
Ah,
it kind of became silly, but I like that movie a lot. I watched it,
nice.
and he plays a good character, and but basically every movie after that, he kept that voice,
Huh.
and people are kind of like, what are
What are you
you?
doing?
But yeah, it's one of those things. And then, most notably, Martin Brest's last film was Geely. Do you remember that one?
That sounds faintly familiar. Not as well, though.
It might sound familiar because it was lambasted. It was the movie
Oh,
between Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer Lopez, who also starred in Selena, She's awesome as Selena in other movies like The Cell, but in Geely, that's one of the worst reviewed movies of all time.
Oh damn.
And this director, Martin Brest, like basically got kind of kicked out by the production halfway through the film, and they wanted to like rework it because they just wasn't working for him. And that's what happens when the studio interferes with the director's vision, I think.
Yeah.
It just, they convoluted it, and then everybody's like, what is this piece of trash? It ruined Benifer's relationship. That was the first instance of the combination of a couple's names into one. Was Benifer, and then this movie happened, and they're like, Benifer's over.
Oh god.
This is 2003. How old were you when this came out?
13.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah.
So you might have missed it. I think I was in like high school, and suddenly those relationship combos started to be like, oh, yeah, I know about Benifer, even though I don't want to. And I think Kevin Smith worked with Ben Affleck after that with Jersey Girl, which also got panned, even though I don't think it's that bad of a movie. I think it was all the weight from this celebrity couple and this movie coming out. But regardless, it ruined this director's career.
Poor
Like,
Martin.
he has never made another movie since then, and I feel really bad because this motherfucker made Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Beverly Hills Cop, Midnight Run, and Son of a Woman. Give him a job if he wants it.
For real.
But moving on, I watched Shaun of the Dead.
Classic.
2004 classic, directed by Edgar Wright. It's part of the Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy, or Blood and Ice Cream trilogy, which also includes Hot Fuzz and At World's End. I'm excited to rewatch those because I hadn't seen Shaun of the Dead for like over 10 years. Just hadn't revisited it, and I was like, man, this holds up really well. It's a great movie. The editing it's like some of my favorite movie editing ever, honestly.
Oh yeah.
Because he's just strolling to like the store to get a drink, and there's just a sense of dread. But underneath that sense of dread is some like hilarity.
Yeah.
And it like makes you feel so much stuff just by watching this guy stroll around, which is some of my favorite stuff. Like, I don't need big action set pieces. You can make me feel things like on that many levels in one scene or one shot, then like that's the best to me. So a lot of that has to go to the soundtrack, which I guess Edgar Wright is really known for. He's just really good at putting music together. And that whole trilogy, if y'all didn't know, is written by Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg, who's the star of Shaun of the Dead. And I always forget his name, and I thought I copied it, but the guy who's his buddy in it, who's just like, I'm sorry. He's just like, no, it's okay. It's like, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah. He's good.
Yeah, I feel bad that I can't think of his name, but maybe you can look it up because I'm kind of going through movie stuff.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's an amazing movie. Next movie I watch is Cruel Intentions. 1999 American teen romantic comedy. I know. But it's directed by Roger Kumble, who's just kind of like, whatever, I don't even care. Because it's not really, doesn't stand out as a directorial effort. But what I like about it is it's a lot of these young stars that you get to know and other stuff. Sarah Michelle Gellar, Ryan Phillip, Reese Witherspoon, and Selma Blair. It's kind of like one of their first major things. And it's an adaptation of the novel Les Liaisons Dangereuses, or Dangerous Liaisons, written by Pierre Choderlos de Lactos in 1782. But set among wealthy teenagers attending high school in New York City instead of 18th century France.
There you go.
So it is an adaptation of an older book that's well known. Another example of that is 10 Things I Hate About You,
Yeah.
which is an adaptation of The Taming of the Shrew
Yeah.
by Shakespeare. So this was a thing going on in the late 90s that I always thought was kind of interesting because, oddly enough, the 1990s, late 90s teen romantic comedy fit really well with all this old, like, oh, yeah, like sexual danger.
Yep.
And it's just, it changed after that. After that, it became more super bad.
Yeah,
Kind
it
of
did.
became more real. It wasn't as elevated into these like social casts and things like that, which is good. But there's my favorite scene in Cruel Intentions, which I did want to talk about a little bit, where Ryan Phillips' character makes love to Selma Blair, and he's being a manipulative asshole. He's just trying to turn her into like this slutty girl for Sarah Michelle Gellar's character over this weird little scheme.
Uh-huh.
And so she's all like kind of trying to get into it and be a little more sexual and be like, yeah, like, do you want to go at it again or something like that? And he takes his hand and he shoves her off the bed. She goes flying. And he's just sitting there writing in his journal. And she's like, wah! She kind of climbs back up, like, what the hell? And he's just, this is quiet time. This is where we think about what we've just done. And I remember the first time I ever saw the movie, I was like, what an asshole. I would never do that to any girl. Like, any sex is amazing and you should just be in the moment and blah, 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 blah. And as a almost 35-year-old man, I'm like, I totally understand that. Just like I wouldn't physically do that, but it's just like, no, like, nah, I'm reading my book. Leave me alone now. What are you doing? Like, she's like, this isn't that special. Like, it can be, but that wasn't. What are you talking about? It's like, that's why I wanted to rewatch it, was purely for that scene. I was like, what's that scene? He just shoves her out of the bed by her face. I'm sure that that's not very 2021, but go rewatch it and just be like, holy shit, the 90s.
Yep.
So there was one more movie that I watched, and it was actually in between all of those, and that was Tenet by Christopher Nolan.
Ooh.
And we're going to get into Nolan in a bit here. But I'll reiterate, I watched Selena, Society, Beverly Hills Cop, Shaun of the Dead, Cruel Intentions, and Tenet. Tenet was my least favorite out of all those.
Oh, damn.
Given it was when my COVID shot was like really kicking in and I felt like shit. But in some ways, I fall in love with movies that way, when you're feeling sick on the couch and you're just, I got nothing else to do but watch this intently.
Yeah.
And have you seen it yet?
No.
Okay, so I will not do any spoilers. But I was just so disappointed by it. I was kind of ready because there was some reviews about it when it came out during COVID and it was supposed to be in theaters, and Nolan said some stuff about that, but then it's like, well, what are you going to do, man? Sorry. Not everything can be a blockbuster. And I guess watching it, everything that people criticize about Christopher Nolan and praise about him exists in this movie. So it has some really like wonky, cool action and cinematography and the set of the music and everything. That being said, I've never like not cared about characters more. Like, I'm just and put it this way, the main character of the movie doesn't even have a name. Oh. He's just protagonist. And he even is like, I am the protagonist. And it's
You can't
emotionless. I actually have to look this up because it does define this movie so well. It was a review I read on this movie diary site I use, Letterboxd. It's just to keep track of what I watched. And I don't know if you've heard about these terms before in terms of like movie and stuff, but there's ethos, pathos, and logos.
Yeah.
And ethos is ethics, pathos is pity, logos is logic. With ethos, you're establishing personal credentials, getting your audience to trust you. Pathos, inspiring an emotional response, getting your audience to feel. Logos, arguing based on reason and facts, getting your audience to think. Basically, Tenet is all logos and no ethos and no pathos. And the issue there is that if it's going to be all logos, you have to make sense. And it just doesn't. Like, there's even a line, and there's a moment in the movie where a character says to the protagonist, don't think too hard about it.
Huh.
Like, yeah, just go with it. And I can appreciate that in film. Like, sometimes it's just a feel and the music, and you just go with it. It doesn't make any sense. I think Donnie Darko's like that.
Yeah.
It's just a feeling. It's like, it doesn't have to make sense. It's just this vibe. But I'm kind of getting a little tired of Christopher Nolan's shtick, where he thinks he's smarter than the audience or smarter than the room. He doesn't make sympathetic characters. His women, the way they're defined, are not well thought out. They're just kind of like, what a sexy damsel in distress that gets abused by the main bad guy. And you're like, all right, but in a way, don't let me just shit on this film. It's Nolan's attempt at like a cerebral James Bond movie in a way. Like, he's a big fan of James Bond. I remember one of his favorite films is In His Majesty's Secret Service. And he likes that spy thriller, like location hopping kind of narrative. And he did it really well in Inception.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's like, it kind of, when it got right to the end, the mechanic of the whole crux of the film, which is this making time go forwards and backwards, which is cool. It looks cool, but it's like, it kind of starts to come together, but it's never enough, and I don't give a fuck about these characters.
Yeah.
And so I think the only Christopher Nolan film I like less than this one is Dunkirk. Which people seem to love that movie, but I also was like, this is boring as fuck. I would rather watch so many World War II movies than this.
You gotta like planes.
But you gotta understand that Nolan's playing with time. Like, there's one section that's this time, and it's like, dude, I'm tired of his shtick. Like, Batman Begins didn't need one. It was just badass, grounded realism. And yeah, time jumped and kind of did a weird narrative structure that way. But it was just Batman Begins. Show me Batman. The Dark Knight was awesome. It is still one of my favorite movies of all time, so maybe I'm being harsh on him. I'm like, where's that guy?
Yeah.
But, so that being said, Tenet is like near one of the bottom. My top 5 of Christopher Nolan is still Dark Knight, Batman Begins, Inception, The Prestige, and The Dark Knight Rises.
There you go.
Yeah, man. So, Nolan fans, feel free to write in and yell at us, and I'm more than happy to have a back and forth with you, because God damn it, he can do better than this. And that's not to say that he isn't one of the best directors and cinematographers, and as far as like coming up with concepts, like I'm so thankful he comes up with these gigantic cerebral concepts for a blockbuster these days, because what do you get for a blockbuster these days? You get Godzilla versus Kong, you get Mortal Kombat, you get Iron Man 5.
Yeah,
It's just like,
remaking everything.
yeah, it's just like, all right, I do appreciate what you're going for here, but like, I don't know what the solution is. Maybe work with a writer who's like really, really in touch with like human emotion, pathos, ethos. Like, come on, bro. I think he tried that with Interstellar, and that, spoiler alert, when the one character's just like, the universe runs on love, or like whatever it is, I'm like, I hate this movie.
I'm out.
I was like, I was so in. What? Fuck. Give me Logos. God damn it. So anyway, that is my... let me rank them real quick. Society is still my number one. Just because how weird it is. So that's very biased. Shaun of the Dead, Beverly Hills Cop, Cruel Intentions, Tenet, and Selena. Sorry, Selena. Great figure. It's just kind of a dated movie.
Word.
All right, before we move on, any movie stuff?
Nope. I got
Told you it was juicy, bro.
Indeed. That's some good movies though. I do need to watch the Shaun of the Dead trilogy, all that stuff. The other guy's name is Nick Frost, by the way.
Nick Frost. Yeah. Great comedic actor. Hilarious. I follow him on Instagram, just couldn't remember it.
Nice.
My bad, Nick. With that being said, I don't know, man. Before we move on, there's nothing better than sitting and watching movies with your buddies. Like, everybody has their thing, but for me, I love showing you stuff you haven't seen before. I'm just like, you have what? Like I get all skadoodly. So that is the one time I wish we lived closer together, because then I could just be like, oh, Stanley Kubrick. Boom. Let's watch it. Because you can just walk right home after. Like, no big deal. But every time we visit, we gotta construct these lists, and it's like, that's fun too.
Yeah, we do watch quite a few movies when I'm there.
Yep. We also got to do those like watch together things more often. But
yeah, for sure.
Anyways, that being said, if you want us to like really dive into a director or an actor, if there's a movie you think we should watch, write it in. Fakoshka@gmail.com, and we're more than happy to watch it, and we'll break it down. And so we'll do that. Do you want to get into our ending segments?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Let's do a tad bit of philosophy.
Quite. Preposterous. Haberdashery. Yes.
I dare say. Do tell.
Yes.
Quite. Think deeps.
All right. Just when you thought the questions couldn't get any weirder, this one's way out of left field. I don't know where this one's coming from at all. So, think of all the other ones we've done, right? Can something be at two places at the same time? Can wars be just? What is a person? All that blah, blah, blah.
Basically what a second grader asks you in the car while you're driving them to school.
Exactly. That's like a conversation jar, like for 2-year-olds.
Conversation jar. We just almost call this segment that. We'll move on from this list eventually, but right now we're having too much fun with it.
So yeah, the one that came out of the random jar today. Does Sherlock Holmes exist?
What?
I'm like, what? What does that even mean? I mean, I know what it means, but what? What
All
does that have
right,
to do with
so
anything?
I feel like I gotta do this every time with this fucking
You
list.
gotta try.
It's like I gotta get all weird and like, yeah, man, like what does he? Like you gotta get all whoa man with it. And it's like there's all right. I'm trying to salvage this person's dumb question. Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the creators of South Park, when they made their Imagination Land episodes,
Yeah.
in a couple of interviews, they were like, "Well, this is what we were thinking of turning into a movie, but we just decided to do a trilogy of episodes instead." And they talked about how their belief system or their religion almost in a way is that yes, Jesus exists, but so does Santa Claus, and so does Luke Skywalker, and so do all these other characters. It's like once they're created and put into the ethos of human culture and society, then even though they're just a concept or an idea, they exist.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of interesting. So, sure, he exists.
Nice. There you go.
You got anything else? Like, because otherwise, it's just like I can't remember who wrote him,
Yeah, I can't
but
either.
probably not. Quotation fingers. I don't
Yeah.
know.
That's what I was
But
figuring. I was like, I
but
actually have no idea of the history of that character. So,
yeah. But does the character have weight? Like in the sense that he might be just as important conceptually as Abraham Lincoln or Genghis Khan or whatever? Like, yeah, sure.
he's the first guy to get a raging clue.
Oh, such a clue. So, with that, the list does not offer a lot to go off of, in my opinion. So, one thing, I think we laid this out in a past episode, but I'll go ahead and do it again real quick. You're, as a listener, probably on some form of social media. You're either on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or whatever. And you probably see these memes pop up that are meant to make you feel good, but they're kind of simplistic, silly platitudes that, like, when you really break them down, they don't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to start doing that in the philosophy section if that list doesn't give us enough juice, which it did. So here's this meme. Let me phrase it for you, Kellen. Do not get upset with people or situations. Both are powerless without your reaction.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, yeah, it's applicable in some ways, but not all the time.
I say that's some of the dumbest shit I've ever read. That thing got me upset. It's do not get upset with people or situations. Oh, so I'm supposed to invalidate
Just everything, just life.
my natural reaction to something? Now, let me reiterate. See if I can attempt to rephrase this, and I want you to try it too. Get upset with people or situations if you must, but realize the power they hold is defined by your reaction, and there's only so much time you can spend on it. So, say you lied to me for like a week about something, right?
Yeah.
I'm allowed to be upset. I'm allowed to be upset with you, specifically because of the thing you did. And I can get mad, but should I scream and punch a wall? Fuck no. Of course not. But if I'm like, you know what? I can't talk to you right now. And you go home and you scream into a pillow, just throw on some Meshuggah and go on a run. Go jump into some cold water because you're that's okay.
Yeah.
It's being human. You gotta do shit like that. Or else you're gonna be one of those
that.
fucking weirdos at the one coffee shop in your hometown. It's just like, you just gotta be positive, man. Just like, shut up. And that's my take. What's your take?
Not all the time. No.
Yeah, try to get there honestly. Don't force yourself to get there. If you're not happy, don't be happy. Be sad, cry.
For real.
Feel the gamut of human emotion. Being positive all the time is gross. It reeks of religious dogma to me.
Yeah.
And I don't like it.
I mean, things. It's good. It's good to try to push back because, yeah, you're just lying to yourself if you think everything's hunky dory.
Well, and it's a bit of that, you know. It's like Taoism, which is a philosophy I really enjoy. It's trying to find the path, the way, the Tao. Trying to find balance, go with the flow of the universe. And if you're being too much of one thing, you're not giving enough energy to the other thing to stay balanced. So, if something annoys you, throw on some fucking angry music, have a cocktail, look at the sunset and relax. But
Yeah.
you can't have 8 cocktails every night and always throw on angry music.
Yep.
Sometimes you gotta have like a little bit of tea at 7 in the morning, reading a book, watching the sun come up.
Exactly. You gotta have both.
Balance and discipline, people.
For real.
And you know what I love though, and that's what's manipulative about this meme, is it's like a person meditating like an outline, and then there's the universe inside of them. She's like, shh. If it was the universe inside of them, what about dark matter?
Yeah.
What about stars exploding?
You'd get sucked off literally.
What about like meteors destroying whole biomes?
Don't make no sense.
Yeah, shut up.
And
the
also,
universe is incredibly neutral. It is neither kind nor malicious. It's all of it.
And situations don't care about your reaction. I do. That is one part of it that is silly, for sure. Big.
Situation. See, that's interesting. Situations. Well, is there anything I can do about it? Well, you know, scream and kick a rock, but move on. A person, if they're fucking with you, you can still wish them well. You don't got to do anything murderous or violent, but ooh, you get the fuck out of my life, you motherfucker.
If they're feeding off your reaction, then yeah, it's not the kind of person you want anyways.
Yeah.
And if you're like ever like got a flat tire and you started like swearing and kicking your car, like you'd have to kick it really hard for another tire to go flat.
Go walk to the curb, look out at the mountain and scream fuck. Hopefully you have a mountain to look at. If it's just flat ground, then scream fuck.
You're already yelling fuck anyways.
But just, get it out. Scream into the pillow. Listen to the loud, angry song. Whatever it is, but get it out. People, though, deserve consequences for their bad behavior.
For sure.
You can forgive them. And you don't got to punish them cruelly or unusually. You know, cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah.
But, no. You don't get to be in my life anymore. You're out of the core. You're in the magma. We talked about that in another episode.
Yeah. Kick your ass to the crust.
Oof. Oof. That's some rough actions. Alrighty. Well, with that, I think we'll wrap up our philosophy segment. We hit 2 things, so we're going to skip the Dear Jacob Wayne. And we're going to jump into something, might go for a minute, might not, but whatever. We're going to get into weird news.
Weird news. Like that. Like that. Like that. Like that. Like that. Nice. So now I think this is going to be a little switch up. You got something this week.
Oh yeah, I kind of wanted to jump into it. So I came across. I'm going to try to source or cite my sources properly. Um, this is coming from an article when gut bacteria changes brain function from getpocket.com. Not necessarily a reputable site. I don't know anything about them, so it could be, could not be. I don't really know. But I did want to kind of read this first little bit, and it'll lead into some other stuff. By now, the idea that gut bacteria affects a person's health is not revolutionary. Many people know that these microbes influence digestion, allergies, and metabolism. The trend has become almost commonplace. New books appear regularly detailing precisely which diet will lead to optimum bacterial health. These microbes may extend much further into the human brain, so basically bacteria getting into your brain. A growing group of researchers around the world are investigating how the microbiome, as this bacterial ecosystem is known, regulates how people think and feel. Scientists have found evidence that this assemblage, about 1,000 different species of bacteria, trillions of cells that together weigh between 1 and 3 pounds, could play a crucial role in autism, anxiety, depression, and other disorders. So, what are your thoughts on that? Right off the bat.
I don't know. It seems reasonable.
Yes.
My stomach definitely affects. Just feels like everything. Stomach ain't happy, you ain't happy. So yeah, makes sense.
Well, and to break down like whatever the tagline to this article is, some researchers believe that the microbiome may play a role in regulating how people think and feel. They believe that. There's still a ton of research to be done. I would never want this podcast to turn into wild speculation and assertions without proper research. So neither one of us are scientists. So take that into mind. I just find it an interesting subject. And the reason I like to bring it up is because the way I see our future going, if we're going to survive, is that humanity needs to reintegrate with nature and sustainability.
Yep.
So, what I mean by that is that our medications got to get less artificial, because I don't want to say chemically, because everything's a chemical.
Yeah.
And we'll get into this, but is there a way that we could maybe change our gut biome, or our microbiome, if you will, and treat depression and anxiety and all these things just by making a switch up in our diet rather than taking antidepressants or anything like this? It's the same thing. Like, we don't need to get rid of cities. We just got to like figure out a way to put plants and trees on buildings.
Yeah.
You've seen those nature crossover bridges that allow wildlife to naturally avoid traffic and not be killed. There's all kinds of amazing natural innovations. Like, the most simple being climate change is an issue. Plant a fuck ton of trees. Let's see what happens, huh?
Yeah.
Like, and I think that that's the future. We're trying to we're gonna have more computing power. We are gonna be expanding, hopefully, into exploring the universe and starting with Mars and everything. Like, there's dudes like Bill Maher who talks about, let's take care of Earth first before going to Mars. And I'm like, shut up, old man. We can do both.
Yep.
Like, I like your opinions sometimes, but sometimes you're just an old curmudgeon. It's like, it's these NFTs with artwork and cryptocurrency. It's like, that might be the future of money, but it has an environmental impact. Well, let's find ways to generate energy that's not so dirty. We're going to do this anyways as the future rolls on. So, anyway, I was going to get into a little bit more of this gut bacteria stuff. From another article, this is from sciencemag.org. An 8-person company plans to capitalize on growing evidence from epidemiological and animal studies that link gut bacteria to conditions as diverse as autism, anxiety, and Alzheimer's disease. Since its founding a mere 5 years ago, Holobiome has created one of the world's largest collections of human gut microbes. The company's CEO, Phil Strandswitz, cannot yet say exactly what form the new treatments will take, but the targeted ailments include depression and insomnia, as well as constipation and visceral pain, like that typical of irritable bowel syndrome, conditions that may have
Damn.
neurological as well as intestinal components. So, what's interesting about that, I think I've talked about it on the podcast, but I know I've talked about it with you, is that I haven't been officially diagnosed, but it's more than likely that I have diverticulitis.
Uh-huh.
It's this your colon kind of it seems to be more genetic than anything, but you just get these little nodes that get inflamed or infected if you got too much stuff going on in your colon, and it fucks you up. And
Mm-hmm.
what's so interesting about it is it's like when it's not activated, don't eat things like asparagus and legumes and whatever else. But
Huh.
if it is going through it, don't eat that stuff because it's going to activate it. And it's just like this bizarre gut chemistry. And it really does make you wonder about this. Like, oh, yeah, what the fuck's even going on down there? You're
Yeah.
just like, and I definitely know that when my gut just feels like bruh, like even if I don't have any kind of a diverticulitis flare up or anything, but maybe I had too much of a wheat based beer or something that is a little more preservative food. Like when I tried to go vegan, I didn't eat the right stuff and it was a lot of processed stuff. And I just felt terrible. Like not only did my gut feel like shit, I felt like shit, like emotionally. And yeah, it does, I think at its simplest form boil down into obviously we are our whole body. Just because your brain is the main functioning room, like if your stomach's fucked up, your brain's not going to be right. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So, I don't know, any thoughts before I move on to the last two sections?
Oh no. I mean it all definitely makes sense. It's really interesting. I'm kind of
Yeah.
wondering like how much it's affected by like um like a lot of other countries uh you see the little
Well,
like
that's a
yogurt
great,
shots
yeah.
and gut fixers. And yeah, I've never tried one, but maybe they're
Well,
onto
that's
something.
a great example, and I think we could probably dive into it, or if anybody knew more about it, as always, write into fakoshka@gmail.com if you want to be a guest and know about this stuff. I'd love it. But
Please.
that what you're just saying that makes me think of the diets in Italy. They're eating
Oh,
pasta, you know, but what is in the pasta? What's in the noodles? What's in the sauce? What's in the meat?
yeah.
And they seem to be thin and running around fucking each other and having a great time. Maybe that's just an illusion I have as an American kind of looking over, but we're all over here eating spaghetti and meatballs like brr, brr. It's
Well,
just
yeah.
like it's just like America definitely fucks with its food.
Oh yeah.
And I don't lean into the whole like Monsanto GMO like sorry buddy, but just about every food you eat is genetically modified.
Yeah.
It's
That,
just a matter of is it done ethically with the right stuff or not.
those are the people who freak out when they see formaldehyde as an ingredient in something. Like it's got
Right.
formaldehyde in it. It's like, yeah, that's an apple, bud.
Yeah. It's just like and so I do want to be adamant about that. I don't want to be pushing this thing like No, yeah, it's just all a matter of eating yogurt and you'll be fine. It's like this is new, fresh science, and it needs a lot of tests, a lot of studies. It's just like psychology. Psychology's like a phrase I love is barely out of the jungle. So much to
Yeah,
learn.
and
We
and
50 years of research is not much at all.
and even then, this kind of stuff is like all of this, like everything we know about all medical stuff and everything is you can't study it that good. You know, it's like really hard to study well, and I don't I don't know.
Yeah,
At least to me, it
there's a,
seems like
yeah,
everybody drinks water. Like that is like a weird. There's that whole argument. Like that's a uh, what's the word? You know, everybody who has cancer also drinks water or eats bread. People. There's all
right.
these correlating
Well,
factors that totally don't correlate.
that's what I was saying. Correlation is not causation.
Causation. Yep.
And there's all kinds of logical fallacies. You should read books like Freakonomics and other books of that nature that just because the data looks this way, it's lying by omission. It could be correlation is not causation. You could be zoning in on a really particular trend, and then when you expand out over time, you're like, actually, the trend is upward when it looked like it was down because I was only looking
Yeah.
at about a week's activity.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, we get that in stocks, and I'm gonna, I didn't think about this until now. I'm gonna start calling Shocky stocky.
Nice.
Yeah, because he's been educating me on a lot of that stuff, and it's so easy to react to it in this tiny little lens, this anecdotal lens. But there is so much research to be done, and everything should always be retested and questioned and considered. But don't
Indeed.
question things so hard that your brain falls out.
Exactly.
So I'll wrap this up a little bit, but one element before I get into these kind of offshoots was they did this test. I thought I copied it, but I didn't. So we can, if I get this wrong and I did, write in. But they did a test where they had a group of women, one subset ate this probiotic yogurt for 2 times a day for 2 weeks, and then another group ate a placebo yogurt, I guess.
Well,
And then they tested their anxiety levels and depression levels and all that stuff. And a lot of the studies that I think this was one of the more initial ones. That's kind of why probiotic yogurt took off so much.
oh,
Is that they were like, yeah, I feel like a lot more. They more or less just had less levels of depression, anxiety, and all this stuff.
they showed an 80% improvement over the ladies who had the placenta yogurt.
Yes. And yeah, I thought I had something else. Nope. But so now I think I'm just gonna go get a fuck ton of yogurt, man. Just see. I'm gonna do my own little anecdotal test, and I'm trying. You bet I'm getting that placenta yogurt in my.
Wait, you get the probiotic, I'll get the placenta yogurt, and we'll see what happens.
Oh, okay, yeah,
We'll
yeah.
gauge
Well,
our depression levels
no,
in a
but we
couple of
need to
weeks.
have the same belly, so maybe we should shower naked together. Just
Okay.
rub bellies until it's like we sync up.
Nice.
But anyway, from all this research, it made me think of two things, which are two offshoots, which I think still goes under the weird news banner. Is one of the things they were doing with a lot of these tests was they were taking these different samples of different bacteria and injecting it into mice. And they did the same thing. They put this certain amount into mice and then a placebo into the mice, and then they put them in water and made it swim around like they might drown.
Huh.
And they would take them out right before they were about to drown, which is still fucked up. But
Yeah.
they were just like, oh, let's see which one panics more. And they noticed a correlation is that, oh, like they had the right gut biome, they panicked less. And that sounded kind of fucked up to me, and it just made me think about like, man, like why is it always mice? So I looked up
Yeah.
this little thing. Said most of the mice and rats used in medical trials are inbred, so they are almost identical genetically, helping to make the results of the medical trials more uniform. I thought that was interesting.
Oh.
Another reason they're used as models in medical testing is that their genetic, biological, and behavior characteristics closely resemble those of humans.
Ouch.
Yeah, well, we're dirty rats, man.
Yeah.
We're chimps and rats.
With
Is
control.
that we're close to pigs too? So pigs, rats, and chimps, right?
Yeah, I think it's like we have control of our anuses. That's about the main differentiating factors.
Some of us.
So yeah, a healthy percentage. I like to think.
I remember those days.
Good times. I had to be younger.
Oh, yeah, there's a reason they call me Jakey Two Shirts. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
It runs down one leg. It runs down the
Ugh. You don't want that, Jacob voice.
Wrong door.
Yeah, but we should dive into that in the future. If anybody knows about that, feel free to write in. Like, what creatures are we closely related to other than like chimps and bonobos? We all know that one. That one's like hyper related. But if it's not a primate, what's really close to a primate?
And I know some of them are like different parts, you know? Like,
Yeah.
like
a wolf and a whale are apparently, or it might even be a specific whale. It might even be a blue whale. Like, have a closer genetic connection than some other things that you might think would be close. And it's like, nature's funky, man.
My grandpa had a pig heart valve. You know, borrowed one from a pig. Thanks, pig.
Thank you,
wherever
pig.
you are. That'll do, pig. That'll do.
Oh my god. All I gotta say, this is what's great about podcasts is that there's no like real competition. So I can just shout out, go watch Your Mom's House.
Oh yeah,
it's one of my favorite podcasts ever, and they have a character on there, Pig Norman Somerton. And just that's all. That's all I'm gonna say.
Just go enjoy.
Enjoy. Just know that it might be a little more rough than the Jacob Wayne Show.
Oh yeah,
a little bit.
I follow No Context Your Mom's House on Instagram, and it's exciting.
Oh, really? I guess I'm just laughing, just imagine how they put that together.
Yeah, it's fun.
All right, so I did want to get into this last little bit. We've talked about this before. I don't know if it was on the podcast or not. But do you remember talking about spicy burritos creating nightmares? Or like fucked up dreams?
I don't recall.
It kind of seemed to correlate with the gut biome.
Oh yeah, big time.
Concept. If you can eat this probiotic yogurt and it's this consistent scheduled thing, maybe it helps. But if you're about to crash, and sure, most people, when they eat a big old spicy burrito before they sleep, it's usually alcohol.
Yeah.
Or maybe weed.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, just eating anything before you crash. Like today, I made some mac and cheese with a little bit of hamburger in it. And I woke up way too early. I went and like biked and did all this working out and stuff. Like I was on top of it. But I woke up too early, so I was like, I need another hour or something. So I ate this kind of greasy mac and cheese spicy thing I made.
Ooh.
And I just had some wacky fucking dreams, man. Like, I'm not even going to get into it, but it was just like, I woke up like, that was intense. Like, you know, they weren't even necessarily bad, they were just like emotional.
Yeah.
And they felt very real. And I was like, kind of, you wake up and it's like, oh yeah. So, I'm going to read this right here. Actually, there is some evidence that eating a spicy meal shortly before going to sleep can lead to some wacko dreams. In fact, eating anything too close to bedtime can trigger more dreams. because the late night snacks increase the body's metabolism and temperature, explains Dr. Charles Bay, MD, a sleep medicine doctor at Sleep Disorder Center at the Cleveland Clinic. Heightened metabolism and temperature can lead to more brain activity, prompting more action during rapid eye movement sleep, or REM. It is possible that spicy foods or other foods such as dairy or greasy fast foods, at least occasionally, induce nightmares or other bizarre dreams. It might be that some people are sensitive to the chemical composition of certain foods, writes Tor Nielsen. You ready for this? Professor at the Université de Montréal and director of the Dream and Nightmare Laboratory at Sacré-Cœur Hospital. I want to visit. I want to go to the Dream and Nightmare Laboratory.
Can we like, is that a double album set we can release?
Fuck yeah. Of course. That was written on February 15th, 2013, 5:56 a.m. Mountain Standard Time by Megan Holohan, NBC.com. So this whole sleepy nightmare burrito thing has been around longer than I thought. And I could tell you anecdotally, I have eaten some spicy food right before bed, gone to sleep, and had some wacky fucking dreams. And sometimes it's a nap, sometimes it's just your regular night's sleep, but I think that has got to have something to do with the gut biome thing.
Oh yeah, totally. That's so interesting. I've never like correlated the two, but I wouldn't be surprised because I don't eat spicy food that often, and I don't have like weird, crazy nightmares that often. Yeah. So yeah, that would make sense.
And what's interesting about this, before we wrap up, is it's you know I'm not woo woo. I don't like the woo woo stuff. I don't like healing crystals. I don't like all that stuff. But like the reason they are so popular is because they are probably based in a fundamental truth. Yeah. And then people just go crazy with them and run wild. Yeah. Build whole religions off of them. MLMs. But it's like, this makes me think of chakras, right? Yeah. Your stomach's chakra, your throat chakra, your mind, like whatever. And it's like, yeah, that if you phrase it like that, like, look, you got all these bacteria that have been in your body since you were born. They're transferred to you by your mother, by her mother, by her mother. And they do certain things to your chemical composition. Like they either consume too much of this or do much of this, and they help with the production of neurotransmitters, which was something I read in one of those articles. And so they probably, if they get up into the brain and there's bacteria there, they may or may not help with mirror neurons. Mm-hmm. And those are usually the things that makes like connective thought, like being able to think basically. So that little tiny electric charge that goes from one spot to another. And there's well grooved out patterns, and that's why some people think taking psychedelics helps, reconnoiter all that. But it's all this speculation and so little research. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not anti-woo-woo. I'm just pro-science. Yep. So it's like, no, that makes total sense. If your gut is out of balance with your chest and if your lungs, basically, if it's out of balance with your mind, if it's out of balance with breathing properly, like whatever, like that makes total sense to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Gotta have your chakras aligned. But then some dude probably recognized that just intuitively thousands of years ago. It's like, yes, that's because the divine lizard in the sky told me. And you're like, well, hold on. And yeah, I think, and we can carry on this discussion. Once again, write in, fakoshka@gmail.com. I think you could apply this same logic to any kind of supernatural phenomenon or woo-woo stuff you believe in. Yeah. Like, some of it just flat out doesn't sync up. Like Christianity.
Yeah.
Sorry. I had to. But, like, no, yeah, like, why would people perceive it this way back in the day? And then what research have we done? It's just like, the way you break it down, of course we were all sun worshippers. What did so much for us? It warmed us up, it grew our food, lit things up so we could see. Like, of course we would worship the sun until we're like, oh, it's just there. It's not doing anything specific for us. It's neutral, but I'm still a sun lover. I love the sun. I love it so much, but I'm not going to worship that motherfucker. That's silly.
Nope.
So, I think that's a good spot to end. What do you think?
I agree.
I told you it was a juicy episode, man.
Indeed.
I got in early and prepped some stuff, and I was like, oh shit. This is all going to be all about the gut.
We're gonna get in it.
I think we might call this one Microbiome and Spicy Nightmares.
Spicy Nightmare Laboratory.
One word too much, I think.
I know, but that laboratory.
But it is nice. But that could be, take the microbiome out, make a band, Spicy Nightmare Laboratory, and then their first album is Microbiome.
There you go.
Well, I might buy
That's
it.
our idea. You can't take it.
That's ours.
You have to PayPal us at
TM.
pakoshka.gmail. DMs.
Alrighty. Well, you're going on a trip for 9 days.
Yeah.
We should have one ready. I'll record one just in case. We'll try to be more consistent for y'all. But I think you should be back in time. So.
Yeah.
Fucks, yeah.
Yeah, well, y'all have a good one.
Yep. All of you try to not have too spicy of a nightmare. Just your right amount of spice.
Maybe take a visit to the Dream Lab once in a while.
Ooh. Fly around. Read subtitles.
Yeah, lucidly.
Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to The Jacob Wayne Show. If you would like to contact us, please write us at fakoshka@gmail.com. That is FAKOSHKA@gmail.com. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. Simply search The Jacob Wayne Show and it should pop right up. Make sure you like and subscribe and leave a review and share this podcast with your friends. Please write us. It helps add content to the show and makes the show even better for you, the listener. Thanks for tuning in.